Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Michelle Shelton. I am a registered dietitian and certified coach. And in this channel, I teach people strategies to achieve a life of health and well-being that are centered in body wisdom, reconnecting to that innate wisdom, those innate body signals, healing your relationship with food, healing your relationship with your body. So with that, today I want to talk to you about a really important skill that you can build to learn to reconnect into your fullness signals. It's a really helpful and important skill in this process. And if you are like most people, myself included, you know what it feels like to eat past fullness, to be uncomfortably full, right? To eat too much and feel that stretch and that discomfort in your stomach, sometimes even like the brain fog or the lethargy, right? Because you've eaten too much. Most of us know what that feels like. Most of us also know, myself also included, what it feels like to not eat enough, right? To eat a certain amount because that's what you think you're supposed to eat, or because that's what your calorie count says, or whatever, and you don't feel full, right? You still feel hungry, but you believe that that's all you're supposed to eat, and so you stop, right? So neither one of those are really comfortable. Not eating enough, eating too much, neither one of those are really comfortable, great places to eat from and leave us sort of feeling either like we're fighting our bodies or like we're just not comfortable in our bodies. Neither of those are good ways to feel. So what we want to do is learn what comfortable fullness feels like and let that be our guide for how to nourish ourselves. Okay, so we're going to talk about what that looks like and how you can do that. But in order to do that, the first thing that you need to do is there's some table stakes, right, to cultivate the right environment for this to be successful. So there's three things that I want you to practice before you even begin this process of conscious connected eating, which is what we're going to talk about. So these are the three kind of table stakes. The first is you need to be feeding yourself. You need to be eating, right? A lot of the time we feel like we are hungry all the time, fighting our hunger, and we feel like we don't have any self-control and eating too much or overeating. And the reality is we're just compensating for not being fed enough, right? Maybe we've been skipping meals throughout the day or restricting too many calories, and our body responds to that with an intense hunger drive. Right? So if you feel that intense hunger drive, chances are that you just need to eat a little bit more food. Your body's telling you to eat more. So make sure you're feeding your body. I always check in at least every 3 hours and notice, how is it doing? Usually after 3 hours, I'm ready to eat some more. So just check in and notice what that feels like for you. Don't go longer than 5 hours because you are likely reaching over hunger at that point. Okay, so make sure you're feeding your body. The second thing that you need to be doing is eating foods that will trigger fullness. Eat foods that make you feel full. Eating protein, eating fat, eating fiber, those are foods that signal to your body that it has been nourished, that it is getting food, and that it has had enough to eat. If you're eating like a big plate of vegetables, for example, or a lot of like crackers or airy foods like rice cakes, that type of thing, right? Those are not filling, right? They are not going to give that signal to your body. So make sure that you're eating foods that will signal that you've had enough and that you're full. Okay, so feed your body, eat foods that will help you feel full. And the last kind of table stakes is to cultivate a lot of compassion and grace for this process, right? This is a learning zone. You are learning about your body. You are learning about how your body receives and responds to certain foods, what makes it feel good and what doesn't, so that you can then adapt and adjust, right? This is all about learning, and learning happens within a lot of grace and a lot of compassion. This is not about being perfect. It's not about doing it right. It's not eating like the exact right amount as if there is something like that exists. That's not what this is about. Okay, so cultivate a lot of compassion. All right, so those are our table stakes. Now let's talk about the skill of conscious connected eating that you can use to reconnect to your fullness signals, okay? So conscious connected eating, that is the process of connecting in, building awareness, intentionally checking in to what is going on in your body. And you're going to be checking in when you begin eating, at kind of like a midpoint, and then at the end. And as you do that, you're going to notice, right, this arc of what the food tastes like at the beginning and in the middle at the end, right? And you're going to notice sort of a shift and a change. You're going to notice what your body feels like at the beginning and middle and the end. And you're going to notice and track that change, right? And noticing those patterns and those signals are a really important way. That's how you build that intuition. That is what the wisdom is built on, right? Receiving the signals, adapting to it, and continuing to, receive and adapt. Okay, so that's kind of the process. So at the beginning of your meal, this doesn't have to take long, but just check in and notice, how does my body feel? What does it feel like to be hungry, right? That emptiness in my stomach, that readiness to eat. I have a really high interest in food. I'm thinking about it a lot. The food usually tastes the best as we begin eating. Okay, so just take in all of those things. And then at your midpoint, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to check in with the taste. How's it tasting? Is it still tasting good? Is the taste starting to drop off a little bit? Is the pleasure and satisfaction starting to drop off a little bit? Just notice that. Check in with your body. How does it feel now that I've got food in it? I'm not as hungry as I was to start. Is it starting to feel full? Is it still kind of empty, right? You're just sort of checking in. And then when you've finished your meal, you do the same check-in, right? You're going a little bit deeper now, though, with your body, right? You're noticing, okay, now I am full. How do I feel? What does the fullness feel like? Is it pleasant? Is it unpleasant? Or is it neutral, right? Just start there. Is it pleasant? Is it unpleasant? Or is it neutral? And then based on that, based on how you feel, then ask yourself, would I choose to feel this way again? Do I like how I feel, right? If it feels pleasant, that's great. That's really good feedback. If it's neutral, that's good. If it's unpleasant, that's okay too. But just notice, would I want to feel this again? And what does that signal? Did I overeat? And if so, by how much, right? Is this unpleasant feeling like a signal of overeating? And if so, like how much? By how much did I overeat? So you're just checking in. And then the question, what would I do differently next time, right? Do I feel pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? Would I choose to feel this way again? If not, what would I do different next time? Okay, those are the things you're kind of checking in with. And then you adapt, right? You incorporate that the next time you eat. Again, this is a process of learning. There is a lot of grace as you do this. The other thing that you can begin to notice, right, as you're building in this awareness is, are there drivers that are influencing me to eat when I'm not hungry? So for example, many of us have the drive to just eat until our plate is full or our plate is empty, right? And so we're kind of using our plate as the signal of our fullness versus our body, right? So when my plate is empty, I must be full. Well, the truth is that my plate has no idea how much my body needs, right? And how much I put on my plate. A lot of times I put more on my plate because I'm really hungry and it's more than I actually needed, right? So just notice that. And if that's true for you, just allow yourself to let your body decide when you're full and not your plate, right? Allow yourself to leave food on the plate. Allow yourself to have leftovers, maybe to give it to somebody else or do whatever you need to it, but allow yourself to leave food on the plate, right? A lot of us have that drive to clean our plate. Another driver many of us have is to eat food just because it's there, right? If you think about like the bowl of chips, right, at the Mexican restaurant, or the bread basket, or the bowl of pretzels, right, that we're just snacking on just because it's there. We're not really even enjoying it, or most of the time even noticing, right? And so just notice that. Maybe one of the drivers is I eat because it's there. And again, give yourself permission to say, I don't want it. And you can even use a physical gesture, right? Just to kind of push it away, just to remind yourself, like, I actually don't want that. I don't need that. My body is not enjoying it. And so I don't need to eat that. Another driver many of us experience is just, it's really hard to say no if we're a guest in someone's home, right? And they're feeding us and they want us to have seconds. And so just notice that, right? Am I letting that host be the one that decides my fullness, or is my body the one that gets to decide, right? And give yourself permission in all of these circumstances and any others that you notice to let your body be that guide. So that's the process of conscious connected eating. Check in at the beginning, at the middle, at the end. Notice how the taste arc is changing and when that starts to drop off. Notice how your interest in the food is starting to drop off, and notice how your body sensations are changing as it begins to fill up. And then respond and adapt as you do. Let me know if you have any questions. Give this a try and test it out. Put any questions or comments in the comments section. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to click subscribe for more tips on how you can cultivate body wisdom and learn to nourish yourself from that place of intuition. Again, healing your relationship with food and with your body. If you're interested in learning how you can work with me as a dietitian and as a coach, you can go to nourishwhoyouare.com and sign up for a free coaching consultation. We will do an energy analysis where we will go through what your goals are and what your current circumstances are, and based on those things, different things work for different people. And so we'll just kind of look at your situation, and you'll walk away with 3 3 things you can begin today to begin your process to health. And we'll also talk about what it would look like if you were interested in working with me more long term. So go to nourishyouare.com to sign up for that. Thanks again for being here. I'll see you in the next video.